My child, I want to tell you something today that might be hard to hear at first, but by the end of this, I think you'll understand why it's actually the kindest thing I could say to you. You have been asking me when. I know you have. When will this door open? When will this pain end? When will the thing you've been hoping for finally arrive? You've asked it in the morning before you've even gotten out of bed, and you've asked it again at night when the house goes quiet and there's nothing left to distract you from the waiting. I'm not going to give you a date today, but I am going to give you something better, a way to understand the waiting itself so that it stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like something you can actually walk through with peace. Stay with me through this, because the second half of what I want to tell you is the part that will actually change how you carry the waiting starting tonight. There is a season for everything under heaven. An old and familiar truth says, a time to plant and a time to harvest, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh. Notice something about that list. It doesn't skip the hard seasons to get to the good ones faster. Weeping gets its own season. Mourning gets its own season. These are not interruptions to the plan. They are part of it, sitting right alongside the seasons of joy, each one with its own appointed time. I think many of you have quietly believed that the hard season you're in is a mistake, that if things were going correctly, you wouldn't be here, waiting, wondering, aching for something to change. But I want you to consider a different possibility, that this season, exactly as uncomfortable as it feels right now, has its own appointed time too. Not a mistake. Not a delay in someone else's better plan. A real season, doing real work, on schedule. Now here's where it gets more specific, because I know everything has a season, can feel a little distant when you're the one in the middle of a hard one. So let me give you something sharper. There is another old truth that says this: write down the revelation, make it plain, so that whoever reads it may run, for the vision awaits its appointed time. It speaks of the end, and it will not lie. Though it linger, wait for it. It will certainly come, and will not delay. Read that last part again slowly. Though it linger, wait for it. That word linger is important. It's not pretending the wait isn't real. It's not saying there is no delay, you're imagining it. It openly admits that the thing you're waiting for might linger. It might take longer than you hoped. It might test your patience more than you expected. And even so, even in the lingering, it says, wait for it, because it will not delay beyond its appointed time. Not late by heaven's clock, even when it feels late by yours. I want to walk you through why that gap exists. The gap between how something feels on your clock and how it actually sits on mine. Because understanding the gap is what will help you carry the waiting differently. Think about how you experience time. You live inside a single moment, one after another, with no ability to see what's coming next. You can look backward and understand why certain things happened. But you cannot look forward the same way. That's simply what it means to be human, moving through time in one direction, blind to what's ahead. I don't experience time from inside it the way you do. I'm not waiting to find out how your story turns out. I'm not hoping it works out for you the way you're hoping. I already know. Which means that when I ask you to wait, I'm not asking you to wait in uncertainty the way it feels to you. I'm asking you to trust a timeline I can already see the end of, even though you can't see it yet. That's not a small difference. That's the whole difference. Your waiting is blind. Mine isn't. And I would not ask you to walk through a season this hard if I didn't already know exactly where it leads. Let me give you a picture. Think of a farmer standing over a field early in spring. The seed has been planted. Nothing is visible yet. Just dirt and rain and cold mornings and a lot of waiting. If you only looked at the field in that exact moment, you might think nothing is happening. You might think the seed failed, or was wasted, or was planted in the wrong place. But the farmer isn't worried. Because the farmer understands something the field itself cannot show you, yet that growth is happening underground, in the dark, in the part you can't see, long before anything breaks the surface. Some of what you're praying for is still underground right now, not gone, not failed. Growing in a place you can't observe yet, on a timeline that has to run its full course before it's ready to break through. If I pulled it up early to show you it was still alive, I'd kill it before it could finish becoming what it's supposed to be. I know that's not the answer you wanted. You wanted a date. I understand that. But I want to give you something more durable than a date. I want to give you a reason to trust the process, even without one. Here's the part I promised you at the beginning, the part that changes how you carry this starting tonight. You've probably noticed that waiting feels different depending on what you believe about it. If you believe the wait is meaningless, that nothing is happening, that you've simply been forgotten or overlooked, the waiting becomes almost unbearable. Every day feels like evidence that you were right to give up hope. But if you believe the wait has purpose, even without understanding exactly what that purpose is, the same amount of time becomes something you can actually endure, and sometimes even something you can grow through. The waiting itself doesn't change. What changes is what you believe is happening inside it. And that belief is something you actually have some control over, even when the timeline itself is not something you control at all. So here is what I'm asking you to do differently, starting today. Not to wait less, not to stop hoping for the thing to arrive sooner, but to stop treating the waiting as empty time. Ask yourself what might be growing underground right now that you can't see yet. Ask what this season might be teaching you that a faster answer never could have taught you. Ask whether the patience you're building right now might be exactly the thing you'll need once the answer finally does arrive. I also want to say this clearly, because I don't want you to walk away from this thinking waiting means doing nothing. Waiting well is active. It looks like continuing to show up even when you don't feel like it. It looks like taking care of yourself even in a hard season, instead of putting your whole life on hold until the answer comes. It looks like staying connected to people who care about you, instead of isolating while you wait. It looks like small, ordinary faithfulness, the kind nobody applauds, practiced consistently, season after season, whether or not you can see what it's building toward. Some of the people you admire most, the ones whose lives seem to have turned out well, did not skip the waiting. They walked through long seasons of uncertainty too. The difference wasn't that they were exempt from lingering seasons. The difference was what they did inside the waiting, how they kept showing up, kept believing there was a purpose even when they couldn't see it yet, kept doing the next right thing instead of giving up halfway through. I know some of you have been waiting for years now. I'm not going to minimize that by pretending years are a small thing. They're not. I know the toll a long season takes, the way hope gets quieter each time it goes unanswered, the way you start to protect yourself by expecting less, just so the disappointment won't hurt as much next time. I want to gently ask you not to do that. Not because hoping is easy, but because the appointed time truly has not passed you by. It has not forgotten you. It is not lost. It is coming. On a timeline I can already see the end of, even in the middle of the parts you can't see yet. Though it linger, wait for it. Not because waiting is comfortable, because it will not delay beyond its appointed time, your appointed time, the one already written, even while you're still living through the part that only looks like dirt and rain and cold mornings. Tonight, I'm not asking you to have peace about the whole timeline. I'm only asking you to have peace about tonight. You don't have to solve the waiting all at once. You only have to trust that tonight has its own place in the season, exactly like the weeping has its place, and the mourning has its place, and somewhere ahead, so does the harvest. My timing has never once been late. Not for you, not in this season either. If this word met you in a season of waiting, I'd love to have you back for the next one. And if the waiting you're carrying is tied to something heavy, grief, illness, a relationship, a decision that won't resolve, please don't walk through it in isolation. Talk to someone. A pastor, a friend, a counselor. You were never meant to wait alone. Rest tonight, even in the waiting. The appointed time is still coming.